Here we go. Abzan. Robert Meadows is back with a vengeance. In his path
It's Justin
is
Gebing.
Justin Gebing.
With a rising darling of the modern format.
Yes.
The Jeskai control deck.
Indeed.
People were playing blue-white, Jeskai. There's been a lot of variations of this deck doing well in tournaments.
And here we are.
Which
I'm hoping he has the Thundermaw Hellkite. That is the one card that I want to see out of this Jeskai control deck.
I find it super interesting that this deck is doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
People think of this modern format as really fast, like a turn 3 format where like you better be established in doing what your deck's doing by turn 3.
So people say that because that's kind of like the buzzword. It was for so long when it was a turn 4 format when Splinter Twin was in the format, which is very real. Like you would just lose on turn 4 consistently.
Right.
It was a turn 3 format when Infect was at its peak and everyone was playing it, and it could very realistically kill you on turn 3, but it didn't happen all the time.
Right.
And now people are saying, like, you know, this is a turn 3 format, this is a turn 4 format. Nobody's killing you on turn 3 or 4. You just really want to have, like, an established board position by then.
Right.
Or else you're just going to get swamped.
Swamped.
Yeah,
and so I think that there's the tools exist, and I think the card selection is in just such a sweet spot with Serum Visions, Thought Scour. That
now to 33. Thanks for the follow. Sorry for the interruption. Continue.
To let this Jeskai control deck do its thing.
Oh
and,
yeah.
Control.
There's some really cool cards in this deck. I originally played, well, not originally, but at one point Modern was playing around with a Jeskai control deck. Just getting the full value out of like Snapcaster, Bolt, Path, Lightning Helix, like a 2 of Sphinx's Revelation.
2 of Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also some Geists. Back when that card first came out.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
That card's a good card.
Felt unstoppable.
I remember playing that card in Standard.
Oh yeah. But then everything changed when my darling, the Deathrite Shaman, was printed, and we were off to the races.
Modern was
all right.
Such a miserable
Let this
format.
be a lesson to you. Never play a Goyf into a Bolt. Just don't do it.
Don't run your Goyfs out naked. Don't fry bacon naked. Don't run your Goyfs out naked.
Don't do either of those things.
Don't water your Snapdragons naked.
Is that a bad thing to do?
Yeah.
Why?
A Snapdragon's a carnivorous plant.
Okay.
I don't want any bits of me coming into contact with Snapdragons.
Well, you're watering them, so you got like a hose.
Exactly.
All right, so we've got the Scavenging Ooze, which is actually very good here. Not good enough to beat the Electrolyze, which is another one that I played I was very excited about.
Yeah, look at how
Scoops
good
it up.
What?
He's seen enough.
Look at how good these removal spells were.
If you run out...
All right. I was like, holy smokes,
we're done. Get out of here. But no, if you run out of Goyf into like a Lightning Bolt, you're just asking for it. At that point, Robert Meadows was too embarrassed to continue. That's like not bolting the bird on turn 1 and then just getting punished for it immediately.
Right.
You want to have a learning experience like that. And as long as you can learn from it, there's no reason to be embarrassed.
Concur.
Sometimes you just have to learn your lessons the hard way. All right, so going into game 2 here.
So Robert keeps in the discard, because discard's almost always good, right?
Discard's pretty solid against this deck.
I would probably take out things like Fatal Push.
Fatal Push isn't going to get a lot of traction, but it does kill manlands, and having an out to Celestial Colony is a big deal.
Okay, so we'll cut Paths, maybe?
Cutting Path is more reasonable.
Okay.
We definitely don't want a lot of removal spells, so
right.
at worst we're going to shave.
One of those, yeah.
Maelstrom Pulse, although it seems like it wouldn't be great, is actually pretty important because it deals with Planeswalkers.
Okay.
As well as like if he brings in Detention Sphere or any like random things like that.
Right. I know I've seen Elspeth Sun Champion in some of the lists, so
you don't.
I could see Maelstrom Pulse being a great card against them. All right. Thinking hard about it.
Thinking long and hard. You don't really know how to sideboard against some of these decks that you might not be prepared for. I don't know how Robert wouldn't be prepared for Jeskai control because it's on the rise in a big way.
Huge way.
But it could be that like he just came here to jam some Abzan and isn't familiar with this deck, in which case sideboarding is a little bit different. Especially if you're seeing Jeskai and thinking it's like a Jeskai Nahiri combo deck, which this definitely is not, or it doesn't have to be, I should say.
I oftentimes like come in to, you know, if I have like a night and I'm like just coming to play Magic, I don't consider my sideboard. I keep like a pretty variable sideboard open.
Sure. That's reasonable.
And so I might not be tuned to the exact meta.
Right.
That being said, locally, I mean your meta may not match the
It's less about like being tuned to a specific deck and more about being like having a plan for different decks.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, he may or may not be planning to face this deck. His main deck should be pretty good against him, honestly. Discard seems solid. You have very efficient creatures. Scavenging Ooze seems amazing against this deck.
Okay.
Lingering Souls gives you a lot of value. That's exactly where you want to be.
Sure.
Liliana just completely takes control of this game.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's a match to be had here. You're definitely gonna play some Magic. All right, let's see what Justin has. He's keeping. Robert's keeping, likes it.
Keeping 7. I see a Graph Digger's Cage, which did some work for Robert when we saw him in round 1. Also pretty good here, although not nearly as backbreaking. It looks like we're going to have a turn 1 Inquisition.
Okay, it's not a Deathrite Shaman.
I wish. All right, so we've got a lot of action here. So we've got Bolt, Path, Lightning Helix, Snapcaster Mage, and Think Twice. We probably don't want to think twice here. And we also have the Graph Digger's Cage in hand, so we're not as worried about the Snapcaster. So
I'll take the Path because hopefully I have a creature that can outsize a Bolt.
Right, you'll force a 2-for-1 at worst. And it looks like he's taken the Think Twice.
Okay, so yeah, if he Graph Digger's Cages here, the Think Twice can't be cast.
Right, but casting the front side of Think Twice is inefficient enough to where I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
Right.
But if he has more discard, then this makes a lot more sense. Because without a creature on the board, you're not in any hurry to get rid of that Path. I think I saw Liliana in hand for him.
All right, here's a land. And so if this Liliana resolves,
Well, if the Liliana resolves, he gets to untap and like bolt or helix it, and then Robert gets another activation, and then he's just gonna do the other one and kill it off.
right?
So it's not super impressive here.
So he gets 4 cards for 3,
right,
counting the Lily and the 2 he discarded.
right. So like I said, not too impressive, but if he's got a 2-drop creature, playing a 2-drop in a discard spell this turn to take one or the other path or helix is pretty strong.
What if he has another land and then Lingering Souls and takes the other one next turn?
Yeah, that's fine. I guess you get rid of both of them that way. Although I don't see him like firing one off unless you're able to untap and kill it. And he could just end a turn Snapcaster for the ambush
Discards
viper.
the Thoughtseize.
Interesting. What's this card? What's this red card that he's drawn? Is that a Chandra's Defeat?
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't. It might not be. I can't tell what it is. All right. Looks like we're getting a couple of spirits. Man, forcefully applying the spirits to the battlefield.
I'm telling you, Robert is rough. He is not on the list of people I would loan cards to.
No offense to Robert, of course.
No, he's a nice guy. A fine American.
Fine American.
I just wouldn't loan him a Magic the Gathering card. I feel like it would come back looking like a
Electrolyze, kill the Lily. Nice sequencing there.
looking like a Ruffles potato chip.
Shout outs to Ruffles. We're still looking for sponsorships here.
Yep, Ruffles.
The taste that ruffles my jimmies.
Ruffles has ridges.
Is that their actual?
That's their actual slogan.
Okay.
I think it is. I'm pretty sure.
Thundermaw Hellkite. Only one red source though. Serum Visions draws into. Oh man, he drew into Electrolyze. Tops the land that's gonna let him play this Thundermaw Hellkite.
Yep.
Skews is pretty good.
God, see, Robert's beating up the cards that aren't even in his hand. Those cards are in his graveyard, and they're taking a pounding.
There is no safe spot. Thundermaw is coming next turn.
Playing it fast and loose.
Yeah. You got what you got to do. Another
Tireless
land.
Tracker with a clue.
Oh, we're just swinging in with the Celestial Colonnade. Supermelon 48, thank you for the follow. Follows it up with a Lightning Helix to take care of the Tireless Tracker. Robert's at 13, which is dangerously low, but any removal spell that can kill a Thundermaw Hellkite is pretty good. There's not a lot of them in his deck, though. It's Path, which he's already discarded one of. We also have... Oh, there's the Lily. Plus, that's solid. We're not going to be able to take down the Celestial Colonnade yet. The other removal spell is a Maelstrom Pulse, which he's already cast.
Hang on here.
There you go.
Colonnade takes down Lily. Robert shuffles. Alright, so we got Grook Relentless coming down. This This card makes tokens, and that's very good against Justin Gebing.
Yeah, making tokens is a big deal. It's just going to kind of eat it to this Celestial Colonnade. But you know what? It is what it is.
How do you feel about just holding those cards until he has removal for that Colonnade?
You can't. You're at 12. You don't have many turns. All right, so this wolf does not stop the Colonnade.
No.
Not at all. He's got a manland, so he can do a little bit of racing here. No racing allowed. Ethan Mason, 1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks for the follow. Just in time to see this match careen off the edge. Robert Meadows.
I don't think we've been followed by a Freemason yet, so that's pretty interesting.
That is interesting. No push. No answer.
No,
there's the path.
There's more planeswalkers.
Yeah, just show us all the cards. Give me every card. That's not enough. I need to know every card in your deck if you're going to be salty at the end of this.
You know what? I'm not. I'm not salty because I got to spend another evening hanging out with you, hanging out with the great listeners at home.
The wonderful listeners.
Come back tomorrow night. We're going to have standard action. Come back on Thursday. We'll have more modern action.
Come back Friday. We'll have more modern action. And
with commentary.
With commentary.
Those guys do a bang-up job.
Banging it up.
I'm Taylor Gunn, here with handsome John Douglas. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Come see us next Tuesday when we're going to be back in the saddle again. And also, give us a little subscribe. Follow.
Yeah, we've got lots of following happening. And
do what you got to do, man.
You guys are fantastic.
We'll see you next time.
One pile.